Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing good today. So in today's video, I am super excited and super pumped to talk about this makeup product. This is the eyeshadow palette that I have been using continuously, and this retails under rupees 350. So let's talk about these eyeshadows and why I love them. So this is from Mars, and honestly this is not a sponsored video in any way. I do have an affiliate code with Mars. You can use the code, you can skip using the code, that's totally up to you. But anyway, I have been using this palette from Mars, and this is the palette Mumbai and this is the palette Delhi. So they have launched like two different palettes, and I have tried so many Mars palettes in the past, but this palette takes the cake, and I will tell you guys why this palette is so good. Now first of all, let's talk about the Delhi palette because this is what I have on my eyes. So let's talk about the color pattern of this palette. I love this color pattern. They have like everything laid out so beautifully. When you look at this palette, you know what shade you're going to use. They have a row of purples, which is what I used. I honestly wanted to use this this variant because last time I did this eye look, a lot of you guys asked me what I have on my eyes, what eyeshadow was I using, and it was this palette. So I really want to talk about how beautiful these shadows are. So you guys know I generally like Mars eyeshadows. They are good, but these ones feels expensive. Okay, this honestly does feel expensive. The mattes of these eyeshadows are very creamy. They are so blendable. You can see that I did try to blend the purple shade today, and it blends out like a dream. It creates a very nice hue of purple, and I did not use any other transition shade. So they actually this shade created a very nice kind of more like a pink sort of a hue as well, which is what I love the most. So you can use the purple row to create a very nice purplish eyeshadow look, which is what I did today. They have a very nice dark purple type of eyeshadow. They have a very nice purple shimmer as well, and they have a row of, you can see, oranges, brick reds, and they have a row of sea blue as well. So they do have a pop of color in here. This palette also comes in with a very nice contour shades. Now let's talk about why I like this palette. It's because of the shimmers as well. Now most of the times when I talk about affordable eyeshadows, I always say that I don't end up liking the shimmers that much because they aren't creamy, they aren't like pigmented enough, they aren't up to my standard. But this palette is different. The shimmers in here work so well. They look so beautiful on my eyes, and that's what I love the most about this, because not only the mattes work very nicely, but also the shimmers are just to the point. They are very creamy. They have this nice sort of satin feel to it. They don't crumble. They are not patchy at all. And you can see I did apply the shimmer today with my fingers, and it applied so beautifully. I am in love with this palette. I really am, and I have been using this palette off camera and I really like it. I obviously have been using more of the purple tones from the Delhi palette, and yeah, you can honestly create so many different looks with this. This is a very unique sort of color pattern, and also they come with a contour shade with a kind of like a setting powder, I'll say, a blush shade, and a highlighter in here as well. Now I do have to say I forgot actually to use the contour shade today, but I did try to use the blush, and I have medium skin, so the blush doesn't show up that well, but it creates a very nice soft pink effect, and I use the blush shade to blend out a little bit of the eyeshadow as well. You can totally do that. You can use the contour shade as an eyeshadow too. It blends out like a dream. Absolutely in love with this palette. Totally for someone who wants to incorporate this kind of shade, but maybe you are scared to use. I will say this feels expensive, although it's so inexpensive. Like really, you get contour shades as well. You get this full set of eyeshadow. So inexpensive, but feels expensive. Like feels high end, I'll say. So the next palette we have here is the Mumbai one. So the Mumbai one is a little bit different, right? When you see this, you're like, okay, the color story is it's a little bit out there. And yes, I will say that's true. I actually have been using this black shade. This black shade, I'll tell you guys, it's so deep, but at the same time it blends so nicely. I love, again, all the shimmers in here are beautiful. They blend super nicely. They pack a punch on your lids basically, and whenever you're using this palette, you won't even feel like this is a affordable eyeshadow. You'll feel like you're using a high-end eyeshadow palette. So I like the color story of this, but whenever you're buying the Mumbai palette, I feel like you will need an extra palette to go in for transition shade, because I don't think there are enough light tone shades in here to give you that transition. But anyway, overall this palette is also definitely good, something that I would use if I am looking for more like pop of color to my eye look. This is the palette that I will choose. The gold, the gold that you see here, the golden shimmer, is to die for, I'm telling you. This is a very good golden, sort of like has a green tone to it as well. This is not a normal golden shade that you're going to see in a lot of palettes, so I'm super happy they included this shade in here. Another shade that's very unique, I'll say, is the Marine Drive. So this, as you can see, the Marine Drive shade here, right here, it's a very gunmetal sort of a shade. I have seen these shades, in high-end palettes. I haven't seen this kind of unique shade in affordable ones. So again, super impressed that they included this shade. It's very nice. It gives a very nice smoky look to your eye look. Sorry, it gives a very smoky sort of vibe to your eye look. And yeah, another shade that you can do when you're doing like maybe like a gray sort of smoky eye. So yeah, I did use this palette before as well, and I used the shade Marine Drive, and I liked it. They nailed the formula on this one. The only thing I'll talk about this palette that I do not like here is the highlighter that it comes in. The highlighter, it's not really good. It's a little bit dry. It doesn't really look very highlighty. It's not that creamy, but really not a big deal. Just the only thing is that the highlighter is not for me. I feel like, it could have been better, but again, for the price, these eyeshadows, they are so good. You can use my coupon code, which is arnakshi10, to get 10% off on these. But anyway, I'll leave all the links down below. I just wanted to talk about these shadows and just wanted to create an eye look so that you guys have an idea how beautiful they look. I also did the swatches as well so that you guys can see how the shades are, how the shadows are. By the way, the primer I used for my eyelids was the Swiss Beauty primer, and another one of my favorite. I'll talk about really good affordable finds that I have been wearing on a daily basis. But anyway, yeah, so I just wanted to talk about these eyeshadows because I feel like they deserve a video of its own. A lot of you guys always ask me palette recommendations, and truly, I honestly want to recommend affordable palettes, but most of the times I always like the matte shadows from affordable palettes. The shimmers don't really work that well for me because I feel like they are a little bit of a dry formula. But when I started using this palette, I was like, you know what, I'll talk about them. I will 110% recommend these to you guys. And let me use them first. Let me see, so I have been using them for the past week or so, like more than a week, I'll say. And I have come to the conclusion that these palettes are just really good. So anyway, that was it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys have tried these palettes. These are not new launches, but I was late to the game for this. So yeah, let me know about that if you have tried these palettes. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye-bye.